Guys, how are you doing? Welcome back. Our first natter on was so successful, we've been asked to do another one. New product out, it's in there. We're going to be doing something with that product. So, I'll tell you what we're going to do with that product. So, I'm going to go on that product for 8 weeks. Going to monitor the training. Going to talk about other supplements I'm using. At an old age, see what development I can make in 8 weeks. At a younger age, Bodhi's going to do the same. He's going to jump on the BBB, as I like to call it, because I'm polite, and going to smash some training for 8 weeks, document it, look at the before and after results. I'm asking 2 other people, and I know who they're going to be, if they'd like to jump on this little experiment. And by all means, if you want to join us on our journey, we'll do some regular updates, see how progression is, talk to you about what we're going to train. If you want to jump on board with that, we'll even send you out a little free training program and supplement suggestion program. So Billy Big Bollocks is on the way. We've got some more random questions with the man Bodhi here. In a weird week this week, I've been challenged, bad-mouthed and slagged off by, and have you heard about this one, Bodhi? Henry over at PB Suite, big gym over there in Teignmouth, decided he wants to take me on as a shoulder challenge. This Thursday, so watch this space, Henry. Watch this space, guys. I don't think I can do it. It's been a long time since I did a shoulder challenge. Long time. Anyway, shall we continue?
Yeah.
That's Sunday, I think I did the last one. Yeah. Oh, it was you, wasn't it? That's right. Don't like to talk about it. Right.
Humbled.
First question, Bodhi. Jump in. I'm going to jump back in with you as well, like last week. It was good fun. Post-workout anabolic window. Do they exist?
Yes. Not necessarily as anally as I think people talk about. I would say that it's important to get protein and carbs, some fats in post-workout. Don't think you've necessarily got to be so uptight that you've got to think, oh Christ, I've got 15-20 minutes to get out and get in and eat. I think anywhere within an hour, Mark and I have discussed this, something I've spoke to people about over the years. Hour, 2 hours. We was actually talking about it just before coming on here. I mean, again, I think it depends on how advanced you are, and although it's not something we're talking about right now, it also depends on if people are enhanced or not. The anabolic window, from my experience, become quite a big thing a few years ago, quite a few years ago now, where people started using insulin. And it was more a case of life or death. You had to eat post-workout very quickly, otherwise you'd collapse. As most of us, myself, Mark included, you're not enhanced. You might be doing some sort of supplements, but you're not doing any super subs. I think as long as within an hour or two you're getting something in, you could, and I think Mark would agree to this, some quick shuttling protein into the body in the form of a shake, and some carbohydrates and some more protein, maybe an hour or two down the line.
Yeah.
So that's so it is fact, and I say it's very important. So you're not doing anything that's detrimental to your gains. You've gone in the gym, you've done the damage, you need to repair. But don't feel like you've got 15-20 minutes to get that in. You've got time, as long as it's that night or that day. Yes.
I agree. I talk about this quite a lot. So a lot of people suggest there's this 30-minute window, particularly after training, where it's important to get your protein in this 30-minute window, or you've missed a great opportunity for growth. And as I say, I was talking to Bodhi about this earlier on, and I talked to quite a few people about it. If you're just starting out, then that window isn't particularly that important, in all honesty. Obviously getting protein in after a workout is really key, but does it have to be in that 30-minute window? If you're pretty new to it, and when I say new, but within a year to maybe it's a year and a half of training, it's not essential. But if you train intensely, which I know a lot of you guys do, you smash it. You're training regularly, 4, 5, 6 times a week, a lot of you guys do, so you're smashing it, and you've been training for more than a year, then that window is more pertinent to you. Yes, there is a window in my opinion and all the research I've looked into. That 30-minute window is more relevant to you because your body has learnt to increase protein synthesis dramatically because you've been tearing up muscle for the last year and a half. So that window, your body's more susceptible to utilising amino acids to repair. So that's kind of where I come from. Totally get you about carbs as well. People get very scared of carbs. And I think it's so important to get that glycogen back into the muscles. Like you said, maybe depending on your circumstance, but maybe it's not necessarily straight away all the time. If you're on a cut, for example, I'd leave it an hour and a half, 2 hours max. Then I'd ingest some carbs. But if you're just smashing it, then yeah, shuttle in some quick releasing carbs. Yeah. That'll increase the nutrient delivery of the amino acids and the protein. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, me as an example, sort of journey I'm on at the moment, I've been for the last sort of 5 months. I don't consume, well, I haven't been consuming any carbs. And I've put weight on. Yeah. I've got leaner. Hopefully Mark will vouch for that.
Yeah, a lot of change.
But I've not lost any strength. I've got stronger. So, but again, we could do this in another video. But after speaking to Mark and how I'm feeling, I am going to put carbs in and around my training session. So whenever that falls, typically of an evening, I will have, to be exact, probably around about 35-40 grams pre in the form of cream of rice, because it's nice and light, it's digesting. I don't get on well with oats, I don't like oats. And then post-workout I will have probably a shake, which will be the quadruplex. Yeah. And then, as I say, probably because I feel good in what I'm doing and I feel like I'm getting tighter, but I'm getting fuller, I'm going to wait a good hour and a half or so, and then I'll have my steak and I'll have some rice after that, which will probably accumulate to around about another 60-70 grams of carbs then. And even in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw these carbs in late in the day. I don't want to I've done this long enough. I know the answer to my own question, but it's just when you start, I feel very comfortable in my gut, in my digestion at the moment. But I know that I'll get on well with rice. So, yeah.
I think it's good as well. You've done the thing a lot of people say can't be done. So in the last 5 months seeing you've put on muscle mass, muscle integrity's there, definitions are coming, you're more vascular, but you're losing the body fat. And we trained, as I say, shoulders yesterday. I don't like to talk about things, Bodhi, so don't worry. No one will know the result.
He knows.
And it was, as usual, it was ridiculous. Yeah, it was a ridiculous session. That poor instructor at Torquay must be sick to death of us because no one's training, they're just watching us beat the crap out of each other. But that anabolic window, I think for someone who's not having carbs, you must be smashing that protein and those fats beautifully because they're working. And a lot of people say, oh, you've got to have I think we touched on this last time, a gram of protein for every kilogram you weigh. Nah, not if you're training, and you're a prime example of that. You're probably doing more than a gram per pound, I'd imagine, at the minute with what you're...
Yeah, I think I'm around about 220. Yeah, I'm around about 220, weighing kilos at the moment. Yeah, so I'll say about 101. So yeah, about 220. Yeah. So I'm probably having 250, 270 protein, regular, all from food. Yeah. I'm not going to pull the food back when I throw that shake in, so I'm going to throw in another, what's the quadruplex, 26
grams.
Yeah, so it's another 52 grams of protein, call it 50. I'm going to throw that in. I'm not going to drop any food out, so that's only going up. My fats I will pull down a little bit because I'm now throwing in about 100 grams or so of carbs. So I'm going to pull the fats back a little bit. But as Mark's just said, I mean, my fats have been high. I've literally been eating butter in boiling water with a bit of honey.
It's actually true as well.
It's true, yeah. And I thoroughly enjoy it. For any of you that are sitting there now, you probably are going, ooh, that's horrible. I'll tell you what, because I pulled my coffee right down. And again, this is from listening to the Mad Scientist. And I love my coffee, but I've reduced my coffee. I'm not even having a coffee a day now. So I was having butter with my coffee, which is referred to as bulletproof coffee. Yeah. And I'm now just having a big knob of butter, bit of quality honey from the butchers, little bit of salt, bit of boiling water to melt it all down. I'll stir that up. Love it. It's beautiful.
It's working. It's working,
mate. And the salt, my salt is high. My salt, and that is something that's so missed. People think it's, you know, training the way you do. For every coffee you drink, you need another 1,000 milligrams. It's about another 600 milligrams of salt. So anyone who's training out there hard, which you all are, watching this, I don't know if Mark's got a different opinion. I would say 4 or 5 grams. You know, 4 or 5,000 milligrams of salt a day.
Yeah.
And for every hour you're in the gym, you need another 1,000 milligrams.
I mean, a lot of people, again, and it's a good little point. People come in and say, I can't get a pump in the gym no matter what I do. You know, I try pre-workouts and stuff. 9 times out of 10, they're deficient in sodium, and so I would say introduce salt. Absolutely. Actually, in your pre-workout drink or before your your workout, you'll get some great pumps. You know, and
definitely
people do miss the salt. You know,
definitely. It's something I was. I think when I said to you a while ago, and I was talking to one of the other guys that I've trained with, I was. It might have been more psychosomatic, but because I wasn't having any carbs, you know, at all, I thought, I feel a bit flat. I'm not getting that full, that you know, that skin bursting pump, that feeling. And I notice it a lot in my forearms as well when I train. And I did. I cranked my salt right up. Mark just touched on it. I even put a sprinkle in my workout bottle, along with my BCA, my EAAs, creatine, and I just sit that throughout. I would have had creatine before. Salt is so important. But just toying around with it and. Pre and post workout, throwing a bit of carbs in now.
I mean, that's interesting as well. I'll go off tangent. So creatine, I know it's not one of the questions we've been asked, but we get asked it loads. So it's not. But I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna throw it in there. So I started creatine again. When I went on creatine originally, it was phosphagen, the old AES creatine, and it was ridiculous. So I went on creatine, and I'd say 8 weeks into that creatine, I looked like a steadhead. My missus, so we were 6 months from getting married, and she went mental with me because I got too big on creatine. How can you get too big? But I just went bush, and I loved that creatine. Yeah. And I've tried creatine since, and it always ended up with either gout or issues or stomach.
Yeah.
And so I started doing a lot of research into creatine, and the misinformation out there is ridiculous. The myths about creatine is ridiculous. So one we do, I know you're on, I'm on as well, is the NVRENUF micronized creatine, 200 mesh, and it just dissolves beautifully, easy. It's so fine. But I haven't had any issues with that. How much are you taking a day? And be honest, because I know you like to load. So what you do in the day creating wise for people?
And do you know what? I had this conversation with myself in a car the other day because I thought we might end up talking about it. Honest truth. How much am I doing a day? Right. So your scoop in your swole creatine is 5 grams.
Yeah.
That's a level scoop.
That's a level scoop.
Right. So I call it 10. I literally scoop that of a morning. I'll have that. I might even mix that in with my butter drink. Yeah. And then I'm putting another heap scoop in my intra. So I'm probably having 20 grams a day.
Okay. And
I feel, and again, I know I've said it, and it's not jovial. I'm not endorsed. I buy my stuff off Mark, but I tell you what, I took creatine years ago, didn't get on with it. I had a cramp across my gut. I just didn't feel great off it, and Mark's opened my eyes with his knowledge, and talking about the mesh of creatine, how it absorbs. I've used micronized over the years, and it still didn't agree with me, and I'm taking a load of this. When Mark says loading, I'm not loading as a loading phase. I just tend to take more of whatever there is.
I mean,
he takes one capsule, I'll take two.
It's
but,
true.
It's just I love the products. I feel, I don't know if I said this in the last one, but I feel like I'm running gear, and I swear on my life I'm not running anything other than the supplements that I'm taking from Mark, and I'm close to feeling strength wise in my physique now like I'm running gear. And it's not something that I claim to be an expert in, but I have done a little bit over the years. Again, we can address that maybe another time. But I do, I feel fantastic. I'm getting stronger week by week. Still couldn't beat him in the shoulders challenge, man.
So I'm with you. You're a strong man, stronger than I am. Let's face it. And
I'm stronger in the lifts, but it was. We done 5 reps. Sorry, we're having fun with this. We done 5 rounds yesterday of 125 reps with 5 kilos, and rep for rep I stayed with Mark.
100%. Yeah.
That wasn't the challenge. It was after that, and we'd already pressed. We'd already dumbbell pressed downstairs as well.
Heavy. You were 100.
I went up as heavy as I went. I think I whacked out the 50s, and we done a couple of drop sets, and we went upstairs. But again, fair's fair. And then Mark, we went back onto the shoulder press, and I was a few reps shy.
It's not important, Bodhi. As I say, you're stronger than me.
It was off the record.
Yeah, exactly. It's off the record.
It fell on.
So I'm with you. I think creating wise, people don't take enough. Don't take enough, and genuinely, I've started taking it again, and I'm doing about 10 to 15, if I'm going to be honest, 10 to 15 grams a day, and that's every day, non-training days as well. There's all the myths. I heard one, it only worked if you had it with grape juice, or it only worked at 32 degrees centigrade, as if someone's going to...
No.
The gym myths around creatine.
You said have it with some simple sugars. I mean, I have mine now with, as I say, either have it with my fats,
perfect.
or I'll have it, because it's to do with dilation, or I'll have it with some simple sugars. I'll have it with some decent orange juice, and when I say decent, not from concentrate, so I'll have a bit of orange juice, creatine. But I mean, you got to remember, creatine's been around for like 50 plus years now. It's not new, but it's kind of it's been made more apparent again. People are talking about it more. And as I say, it's something that I tried many years ago, and I'm just really enjoying it now. I mean, it's I would still say it's massively overlooked. It's massively overrated. Everyone's looking for that miracle supplement.
Yeah, totally agree.
Buy a quality creatine. Don't go on some of these sites and just buy anything, because it does come down to what Mark's addressed, which I didn't know about, was the mesh. It's 200 mesh. It's almost like flour.
Yeah.
And something I didn't know years ago, when you see creatine in a glass and it's still in little lumps, that will denature in the gut. Am I right?
Yeah.
So that won't absorb through the gut. Whereas this, it literally hits the water and just gone. I mean, and honestly, orange juice, me crazy butter drink, nick that. I'm doing at least, I'd say, 20 grams a day.
Perfect. Yeah, and
we totally digress there, but
it's good. And I think the reason a lot of people come to me and say creatine doesn't work is they've bought the commercial high street shit that gets peddled on people. It hasn't worked for them because it isn't the real deal. So if you haven't done a decent creatine, as Bodhi said there, it's to me, it's part of everybody's basic arsenal when it comes to gym, whatever sport you do. Trained shoulders recently, did you? Right. The best stack to take for anabolic gains and an ultimate testosterone booster. Obviously, let's go natural because we're looking at the shop.
So can we, there's a question here about food as well, isn't there?
There is best foods to enhance test.
So if we address the two.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So I would, assuming you've got your food right, because no supplement's going to do its job properly unless you've got your food right.
100%.
So you must, and again, digressing a little bit, but just for information purposes, get your fats in your diet. Fats are not going to make you fat.
Yeah.
Your body needs cholesterol, especially for anyone watching this training that is in and around, well, I would even say late 20s, early 30s. I'm mid 40s, Mark's 21.
Yeah.
You need fat, you need cholesterol. It's been demonised by the medical industry. There's nothing wrong with cholesterol. Again, something else we'll talk about. Well, there is, but not like they lead you to believe. So get your fats in, saturated fat from your meats, from your fish, not seed oils, I wouldn't say, but butter, stuff like that. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to promote your own test. It's going to put your body in a place, in an anabolic place where you're producing more, or your body's in a better place to produce more of its own test. Product wise, so I think we're more or less on the same thing.
I think we are, aren't we? Actually,
before we try this bad boy. I am running Tomcat Ali, Fastogia agrestis, and testosterone. Now, the latter, testosterone, I've seen a lot of bad press, like it don't do nothing. And again, I'll talk to the mad professor, we thrash it out. Everyone's going to have an opinion, everyone's going to have done their own little tests, and you know, but I swear it works. I mean, you know, you've got I've thrown one thing in, then I've thrown something else in, and you know, there's now this accumulation of different things. Together they work. As I say to you, when I sit here, and as true as I'm sitting here now, I feel like I'm running androgens and anabolics. I feel that good, I feel that strong, but without anything negative. My mood is really high, and for anyone that has run any gear, you will be up and down. I feel quite euphoric, I feel good, I feel elated, my joints feel great. I don't feel dried out in any way, so I would say Turk with Tomcat for Fastogia. I think there's another one which Mark talks about, which is
the rhodiola, or I take rhodiola.
Rhodiola for mood. But yeah, assuming you've got the base right, those supplements I think will great. You know, there's loads of companies out there that claim they've got the best test booster, etc., etc. You know, you can only go by feel. You've got to try all these things, but you've got to try them fairly. I feel like a raging 18-year-old, if I'm honest.
Yeah, fair play.
I'm 46 this year. I feel almost as strong as I did at 38, which I was in my best shape then. I think at 38 I felt as strong as I'd ever felt in every way, and now I'm not far off that. Week on week I'm coming back, and I know I've only been back into serious training for 5 months, and I do in every way. I feel like the wind changes and something happens, so I feel great in every way.
I mean, I think you touched on two really good points. For me, cholesterol, I agree. A lot of people think we have two types of cholesterol: HDL, high density lipoproteins, and LDL, low density lipoproteins. And people have this opinion: HDL is good cholesterol, and LDL is bad cholesterol, which is incorrect. They're both good cholesterols. So I completely agree. They're both key for hormone production, particularly LDL, which is deemed the bad cholesterol. Yeah. What will kill you is oxidized LDL. That's LDL that goes rancid, goes bad. That's the stuff that will get your heart. So brilliant to hear that, and refreshing for me, because I've been preaching that for years, and a lot of people even in the industry, it falls on deaf ears. But 100% fats are important, definitely. We've been coerced into thinking fats are bad. The media, these big companies keep with low fat diets. Probably the worst thing we can do is do a low fat diet.
Yeah.
You know, I buy milk, which is another discussion I know with me and you are in agreement with this, but if you're going to buy full fat milk, blue top, full fat organic milk.
Raw if you can get it.
Absolutely, untreated completely.
Yeah.
So second important point, testosterone booster. Now this isn't just about bodybuilding, but it will bring on your recovery, your gains, your anabolic state of your body, how your body synthesizes protein efficiently, keeping your body in a positive nitrogen balance. And ironically, and it hasn't been agreed or arranged, I've just been on a very similar stack to you. And, you know, your development's been ridiculous, let's face it. But you've been really good on the diet. You've been squeaky clean. Your training intensity is crazy. Anyone that sees you training, they know how hard you do train. Your attention to detail. I mean, you know, you threw in them arm session after we just cooked shoulders, man. I mean, I was ready to be sick and go home. And you have a few little arms. There's never a few little arms, is there? But the intensity and the form and the squeezes and the encouragement, amazing. But I think if I'd done that workout without being on this stack I've been on, and again, I'm on the Tonka Ali, Fidogio Agrestis, and the testosterone, and they could complement each other beautifully, really beautifully. Flipping heck, I wouldn't have been able to even try and do arms after that session. I wouldn't have kept up with you on the shoulders. There's no way. I've never done gear. I've never ran it, and I appreciate that honesty that you know you're open, which is I generally haven't. So I couldn't really compare to gear, but it's one of the best natural anabolic stacks I've ever run.
It's nice. It's not. I mean, Mark's, and I'm not just saying this again because he's sitting there. I mean, seeing Mark on the bench yesterday, he's still. I mean, at the time I've known him, shape's improving, looks great. You know, and Mark, from the day I've met him, even from the part of the country he's from where gear is rife.
Yeah.
So for someone to say I've never touched it, I believe him. And it's nice to have that to compare to though, because I have done, not in a big way, but I have done, and yeah, I don't have any need to go on it. I was even debating it, and I said this to Mark, I was even debating it, but I don't need to, and I still train with guys that are on it. I don't claim to be the biggest and the strongest guy. I'm not, but as Mark just sort of said, when it comes to levels of intensity, and I mean, I think this is one of the questions we got, which we'll come to in a minute. But yeah, it's nice to think when you're in there, you know, just out train your other self.
Yeah.
If you had an identical twin next to you, out train them. Whatever they're doing, do more. Like Mark does, he'll always do one more. 5 more yesterday, I think it was.
Don't like to talk about it, Bodhi.
Go on.
Okay, this one, I think this is from Tom, good mate of mine. Tom, you're a geek, I'll give you that. How to increase IGF and mTOR in the body. Do you want to go? Do you want me to go?
I'll leave that one to you.
Don't know if Tom's talking about things like food. So if it's food, basically IGF-1, insulin growth factor 1, and mTOR, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Mammalius something. Both increase the ability to repair muscle, muscular size, volume, and our recovery, muscle regeneration. And they're both key. Insulin growth factor also helps us keep lean. And I think there's supplements that can work beautifully with that. But from a dietary point of view, first and foremost, I would look at, again, what you've been discussing, high proteins and a really decent amount of quality fats. And yes, a little bit of saturated fats in there. Again, I agree, we need that to a degree. Too much of anything's going to kill us. Like 2 pills a day when I tell you to take 1. It's in your hands, you're a grown man. So diet and protein regularly through the day. So you don't try and get all your protein after work and smash down 150 grams of protein in your meal. Get it through the day. Keep your body in a positive nitrogen balance. Keep it growing. The other thing, supplements-wise, there's a lot. So IGF-1, insulin growth factor 1 and growth hormone. There's a secretagogue out there called MK677, and it's what they call ibutamorin, is the other name for it. That will stimulate your pituitary gland, that will produce insulin growth factor and growth hormone like it's going out of fashion. That would complement a natural anabolic test stack like Sid was on about earlier beautifully. That is your natural growth and test together there. Beautiful. Get that diet right, which again, you addressed. Get your diet right first, then look at supplements. You know, do it that way around. The training's the fun bit. That's the hard bit, getting the right knowledge on your supplements and getting your diet correct. So I think there are other things that you could work with. Leucine, one of the most we talked about HMB earlier, hydroxymethylbutyrate. One of the most underrated products that is out there. And
don't hear of it much now.
Amazing product. So if you want to recover,
HMB was massive in the 90s and early 2000s.
It was, and it had its place. Like creatine, it went out of fashion, and creatine's coming back into fashion. HMB isn't, and it should. I put it in a mass builder for a reason. It works. You do them intense. I mean, I think the worst one for me to train with Hugh and Dean is legs, because you're both just horrible with legs. And we could train legs, and I can't walk for 4 days usually. If I was on HMB, I could probably train legs again next day. It is that good and it's that natural. So leucine, HME. Leucine is one of the branched chain amino acids. So there's leucine, isoleucine, valine. Leucine's the badass. It's the bad boy of the three. So definitely anything that's high in leucine, your amino acid complexes, which we both take through training and through the day. And yeah, something like a HMB or a ibutamol or an ibuta, MK677 to me, that'd be ideal. Don't know if you got anything to throw in there?
No, only that I used to sprinkle leucine on my food. But no, I mean, no, I think we've covered it. So yeah, break it down. I mean, anything leucine is probably one of the most anabolic amino acids there is, if not the most. So that, along with the regulator, like Mark said. But first and foremost, guys, you know, people say it all the time, but you've got to. Protein's key.
Yeah.
They are the building blocks, but they are your foundation of your building. You need protein, and again, try and get that from a variety of foods. A simple day, if you had eggs in the morning, you had your chicken or something in the midday, and then you have your steak of the night. Personally, and again, your GP would say otherwise, but please ignore them in the nicest way. It's not unhealthy. You should try and get red meat in every single day. Hasn't got to be a fillet, hasn't got to be expensive cut, cheap fatty cut if anything. And you'll find your fullness, your strength will go up. Carbs will vary depending on your body type. Again, something else we can touch on properly.
Yeah.
And your fats, don't be afraid of your fats. You need them, especially for the older guys. You know, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Get your fats in. It's not going to be harmful. You need it.
Yeah.
It'll be really good for hormone. I mean, it's kind of what we take, hormone regulation. Definitely.
Yeah. No, good point. And the last question we have: ways to increase workout intensity.
Right.
So, what's your thoughts on increasing workout intensity?
Increasing workout intensity. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. Firstly, I will touch on this because this comes down. This was a really nice moment yesterday. Me and Mark. This was after Savage shoulders. We done a little bit of arms, and we ended up doing 4 movements. We went bicep, tricep, bicep, tricep. And we literally was going from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And when we were just, you know, really pushing through, it was lovely. Really strict movements. We were watching each other the whole time, and we got approached by this guy. I thought he was going over to Mark to say how long because we was taking up 4 pieces of kit. But he actually come over to ask what we was doing and why we was doing it. And I had a conversation with the guy after. So you could call that, you know, you could call that a superset, giant set. But the great thing about that is you get a lot of work done in a short space of time. And I'm a massive advocate of that way of training, because I really believe a great way to increase your intensity to maximise your potential to grow and, you know, your gains, which is what we're here for, what we're talking about. You can fatigue yourself in a movement, so we call it an angle. So if you was doing, like we was doing, you're doing bicep curls on a preacher, which we started with yesterday, which is very isolated. Yeah. You fatigue in that angle, that doesn't mean your bicep still couldn't move in another angle. So although we went to tricep, you could then go to a dumbbell curl, even if you was using a little bit of body English. I don't mean sloppy, but just a little bit. You fatigued in a slightly shorter angle, but it doesn't mean you can't then move a weight in another angle. Hammers, and it was my favourite word, anatomically, your hammer curl, you're going to shift more weight than you would in a pronated curl. So you could go from that to that. So you're still stressing that muscle in another angle, in another way, rather than doing your 10 or X amount of reps and then just stopping. You're stressing it, you're drawing that set out. So a really good way to increase your intensity is, in any way you can, draw that set out. So you might do that through false reps. If you've got a good spotter, and we touched on this last time, a good training partner or a good trainer, false reps.
Yeah. One
I really like, I mean, obviously we know about drop sets. Touching on that, when it comes to drop sets, people I find drop the weight a lot, like almost too much, to get a silly amount of reps out. I would kind of go 20% drops.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know, so if you're, quick maths, you know, if you're lifting 50 kilos, go down to 40 and go maybe down to 30, 35, you know. So drop sets, descending sets, strip sets, whatever you want to call them.
That's a good point, if I may. So you're going down, say you're doing 50 and you get 6 reps out.
Yeah.
And then you drop too much and then you're getting suddenly 15, 20 reps out. Whereas it's 6 reps, 4 reps.
Yes,
intensity is much more. And totally agree with you.
You've ended up doing a set of 15, maybe 20 reps across 3 or 4 drop sets, rather than ended up doing 60 or 70. You're going into endurance fibres. You're not.
Time on attention, isn't it?
Yeah. It's got to be excessive, you know, strict but excessive. You know, if you ever see me train or Mark train, form's everything, and we're still on each other, because it's just human nature. You'll either speed the reps up because you're so fooked and you just want to get the set done, but you just keep your form tight. But yeah, so if you pump out 6. Drop it a little bit, you might get another 2 or 3. Drop it another little bit, you might get another 2, 3 or 4. Not silly amounts of reps. You go into a fibre that you're not really going to get. You know, arms, we religiously normally sit around for sort of 15 reps. If we're doing one set, aim with a weight to get, not comfortably, struggle to get, once you warm obviously, up to 15 reps. The arms are a smaller muscle, they do respond to that pump. I think I trialled years ago, I was sort of lifting arms 6 to 8 without any drop sets, and I just felt that my elbows were hurting on the joint, not really the bicep, whereas now I can feel, you know, the actual muscles.
I think with arms as well, one of the guys used to work with me when I ran the gym in Newcastle. He had the biggest, best arms ever, and all he did on arms was he'd run a rack up and down twice a week. That's all he did, and his arms just were huge. Yeah. So I think they really respond well to reps. You know, reps and feel, as does every muscle. But yeah, I think you could go too heavy on arms, and I don't think you'd strengthen your joints. You're not going to grow your muscle. So false reps, drop sets, rest pause is something I don't see a lot of people doing, which I really like. So whereas a drop set you'd strip the weight down a percentage, rest pause is nice. So you keep the same weight,
give yourself 10, maybe 15 seconds. So pull out as many as you can. Again, you want to choose, if this was me guiding someone, choose a weight that you could barely get out 5 or 6 reps in your first go. Put the weight down, give yourself a good 5 slow deep breaths. It's about 15 seconds. Go straight back in at 15 seconds. Don't wait another, go in at 15 seconds. You might, assume you've got the weight right, if you've already got 6 out, you might get another 4. Do it again, you might get another 3. So as an accumulative, you've done your 10 or 12 reps, but it's taken you 3 goes. That's a really good way. And then I would say, so on a really tough one, I wouldn't do this every workout, is false negatives. So
which is nasty.
Oh, which is horrible.
Evil.
So if we use biceps as an example. So if you're using a fixed machine like a preacher, and you get to the point, so once your positive strength has gone, so when you can't physically lift the weight up, you've still got negative strength will still exist. It's still there. You're stronger in that negative motion. So once you've, say you've done your 8 and you can barely get the 9th one, Mark steps in, he just spots me up. Now, not from the top position, because that's where you're strongest. Let the weight go halfway down, and this will be true in maybe a pec deck as well. So not when you're up here, maybe halfway down. And then your training partner, very responsibly and carefully, you're not wrestling, just inflict and put a little bit of pressure on that negative point. So if he was on the pec deck, here, go to that point, and then Mark or I will push the other person down. You could do 3 or 4 of them. Again, that's dragging that set out. It's savage. And again, on the bicep, you push down the halfway point, leg extensions, halfway down, push on the feet. And then the last little one I would put in, if you wanted to, partials. Just at that bottom point, so where you're at the stretch point, so calves is a good one. So at that point where you're stretching your calves out, once you've done your nice strict calf raises, pushing through your big toes, you're getting that nice squeeze at the top. Once you've done that, go into that bottom stretch point and just what looks like crappy ones, bounce out the bottom, but only once you fatigue the other ones. And again, biceps, you could do that at the bottom. You can't lift the weight all the way up, but once you've fatigued it, once you've completely saturated it and drained it, you can throw them into the end. And no, you wouldn't do this every workout, and you wouldn't do that for an abundance of sets. You would do that maybe for 1, maybe 2 sets.
Great.
That's my opinion. That's the way you could really intensify your session.
I think there's a lot of
information there, sorry.
But there is, it's good, because there's a lot of ways. I get asked a lot through the store about new workouts. I'm bored with my routine, and what you've just said, you could keep the same workout and increase the intensity, and there's a few great ways of doing it. I try and cover everything you've said in there. Totally agree, and I do like to mix it up like that. We mix it up instinctively when we train together. So it'll be like, right, negatives for the next 2. Shit, here we go, and then I'll have to think of something just to get back at you. And it does keep that vibe and a motivation, because I don't know what
you touched on that last time, didn't we? How to stay motivated. Little things like that. It's just a lot of fun.
I mean, we arranged to meet this week. I've been talking training, sports, nutrition all week, and I get up on Sunday morning and I'm excited because I know I'm meeting Bodhi and we're training 11:30, and I'm just pacing around the house like a lost soul, just waiting for 11:30 to come. I'm ignoring my own children, thinking I'm gonna get in the zone for this. And I get excited still. I get excited. I know I'm an old man now, but I still get excited about stuff. And I like to push boundaries, and intensity, whoever put that question in, it is so important. You see, and you've seen it loads. I saw it on Sunday, bless them. People are just going through the mill and counting to 10. There's no trauma there, there's no time under tension, there's no pushing boundaries, physical, pain. Count to 10. Put them down and wait around for 3 minutes, because that's what. Smash it, guys, smash it. And I think if you've not tried some of the stuff Bodhi said, you've got to try it. And you know, I don't know if it's gone out of fashion and it's just old school now, because we're both old school the way we train. You know, even if the bands these days, you know, you mentioned about certain areas where you're stronger, you know, with putting a band on, you know, on a bench press can really help with that, particularly that top end where you're a lot stronger. I've never done little bands, I've never used the bands, I particularly like them, but all them things you told about was bad, and try them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's, every time you step into the gym, and as cheesy as this sounds, but every time, and this was taught to me a long while ago, every time you step into the gym, go to war with it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I used to use this analogy with my clients, and there was one of the trainers down at the gym we train at the other day, and I said, you can keep this one, you can use this one, he's a good lad. And I said, you got a glass of water and you empty the glass of water, what's left in the glass? He went, nothing. I went, there is. I said, there's residue and drips. And I used to say this to my clients, empty the water out, dry it, get all those drips out, polish it before you put it back on the shelf. Now you're done.
Yeah.
That's your work, that's your working sets. So until that's done, until you've absolutely emptied that tank, you're not done. And Mark and I know each other well enough now, and we've trained long enough. And Mark touched on this earlier in the other day, you learn you can watch someone and understand. So it's all well someone saying, oh, give me 2 more. They might not have 2 more. Yeah. They genuinely might not have 2 more, but likewise, they might have 6 or 8 more. You've got to learn to read someone. Rather than just having a number, like Mark just said, rather than just having a number in your head, oh, I'm doing my 3 sets of 10. Those sets of 10 are only effective if a set's lasted long enough. There's no point just going at this speed for your 10 reps and putting it down. I know most of you know this, so I don't mean any disrespect, but it's dragging that set out. So if 10 is your number, make sure you're done by 10. If you're not, you're going to do another 5. And if then I'll do another 5. You know, again, once you're warm, once you're ready. Little important point I'll put in, if doing a second exercise, so once you've done your first sets on your first exercise, you're super warm. Yeah. Going into your next movement, you haven't got to warm up anymore, you're already warm. Maybe do a rehearsal set because the angle's different. So if you're going from a press to a fly, sure, the angle's different. Choose a weight that you're just getting your groove, you're finding your angle. That's fine, but don't exert too much effort unless it's your working sets. You're warmed up, you haven't got to waste any more energy. And this is something I do see a lot. People warm up too much. They do far too many reps on their warm-up sets. This is my opinion. By the time they get to their working weight, they're already fatigued. They're either gassing or they're already fatigued. And it's normally not the muscles are fatigued, the joints are fatigued. So on your warm-up sets, replicate or even half what reps you're going to be doing. So if you're going to be doing sets of 12 at your working weight, your warm-up reps should more or less replicate that, or even less than that. All you're doing is priming the body. You're getting it ready to go to work. Yeah. Rather than doing, I'm going to do 20 or 30 with that weight, and then a 15 to 20 with that weight. Blah, blah. By that time, you even if you don't feel it, your body's going to be fatigued. So warm up smart. By the time you get your working weight, you're primed, but you're still fresh.
Yeah, brilliant. No, brilliant. I think the other thing you mentioned last time was you could use training logs as well, just to monitor what you've done, where you've done, how you felt. That was an easy 10. Next time I need to put a few little more biscuits on or whatever. So I think that's good. I'd love to invite you guys to send any more questions in as well. It's really good catching up with someone as like-minded as Bodhi. Bodhi's got quite a lot going on at the minute in terms of some exciting things that's happening with him and his personal training. So watch this space for sure. You'll be the first to hear from me when that's all a goer and you do start getting back into what you're amazing at, that PTing.
Brother?
Not at all. Definitely, if no matter what level you are, I think from someone who's trained for 20 or 30 or 40 years, you can always learn, and you can always learn off people like Bodhi, you know, and to take your training to another level, another dimension. You could just be starting out. What a perfect way to start out, by getting someone with, you know, experience. He's been in the gym game, he's run gyms, he's PT'd, he's run professional companies who actually analyse PTs. So, you know, if you're going to start out with any PT, start out with a quality one. Start out with someone who knows their trade and is going to be there for you and your development. Because at the end of the day, in my experience, we've all got different goals in our heads. We've all got different body types. We've all got different levels of motivation. We all get motivated in different ways. And if you tap into a quality PT, not only are you going to learn your skills and get your results, you'll know about nutrition. They'll know how to motivate you. You know, it's someone they can confide in, you can confide in. And, you know, Pete, with my clients, I also became really good friends with them, and I'm sure you're the same.
Yeah,
so definitely watch this space with regards to what's happening with Bodhi. But, you know, if you're liking these sort of little informal chats, do give us a few more questions. Could be on anything. I mean, anything. You know, we've both got a world of life skills between us. Well, I'll answer any question.
Doesn't even have to be training related.
No. But if it's on relationships, I'll hand it over to Bodhi, because okay, so anything but relationships, okay.
Yeah. But no, it's a real pleasure. I mean, I will come in if I've got the time. I'll just come in and chat to Mark. He's probably thinking, piss off, I've got things to do. But it's I learned something new today. You know, I talk to Mark, something that I maybe have in my head. What's to say that person's right over that? But it's when someone explains it in the way they do, and you think, do you know what, that just sounds solid. It's, you know, you're not. It's like me when we was talking last week about. We'll wrap up in a minute, but just before, I don't like to dig anyone out. I love the industry, but because I love the industry so much, I just want people to be vigilant in when they're choosing a diet plan, a workout plan, a trainer, a supplement. You know, do your research. If you're fortunate enough to, if your trainer's not 1,000 miles away in another country and they are your actual PT and they're there in the flesh, hopefully you've seen them train. You've seen them work out themselves. You know, like I said yesterday, it was absolutely golden when we got approached by this guy because of what we was doing. And that's not because we were grunting and screaming. We weren't actually, fairly quiet.
Yeah.
But
wasn't too much pain for that.
It just, you know, why are you doing that? Or, well, he was genuinely interested. And as I say, we followed that up after with a bit of a chat. You know, that speaks volumes. You know, not to say everyone's got to look like a superhero. I don't claim to, you know, but when you see someone training, hopefully they are in some sort of condition. You can see that their hard work is doing something. You know, who in the nicest way, if you was talking to someone and you wanted to get in shape, you want to gain muscle, you want to lose body fat, surely you'd like to look at someone who looks like they live it and understand it, rather than they've just done a course. You know, because I'll say this in the nicest way, most of the courses are governed by certain federations that are governed by something else. It's not, you know, it's like the medical industry. It's been drilled into your head what you should do, but to be fair, to live your best life and live optimally, a lot of those things you shouldn't be doing. It's actually quite the opposite. But ultimately, guys, long story cut short, get in the gym, enjoy it. You know, you're not a robot. Go in there and enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
Train hard, push yourself, mix it up, eat. You know, Unless obviously you're dieting for a show, you've got to be bang on, you've got to be on point. But other than that, enjoy life. And like Mark said, I mean, I'm the same. I didn't train for Sundays for years, and now it's a case of, I can't wait to get down there, we're going to have such a good time. And it's the camaraderie, it's the banter, it's the workout, it's the feeling you have when you're in there, when you leave there. I've got to admit, it's down to this man, and the guys at Winners. I love the gym in Torquay. I mean, I like painting, but Torquay, I love it. It's a great atmosphere there. So shout out to the guys at Winners in Torquay. Just a great atmosphere. But if you enjoy it, you're going to stick with it. And if you find that you're not, look me up, talk to Mark, watch these. We keep inspiring.
Brilliant. As always, my man.
Brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And guys, get them questions in. Really looking forward to the next one.
Take care, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.